At the end of each AFL season, the solitary side who lifts up the cup will arguably be the only team that gets remembered in the future. Maybe fewer people will recall the close finishes and runners-up, but barely anyone will look back on the AFL clubs who had a significant start to their season, fancying their chances to snag a top 4 spot and a potential flag on the cards, to only go and completely derail their year and slump out of finals. In this video today, in no particular order, we go over 7 of some of the biggest AFL single season collapses. The 2005 Richmond Tigers. Looking to break their slump of no finals since 2001 and producing dismal season after season performances, the 2005 Tigers were full of optimism. Matty Richardson and Nathan Brown were in their prime, and Tigers fans were eager to see what their first and fourth overall draft picks of 𝘬𝐿𝐼 and Richard Chamberlain could do. A huge 62-point defeat to the Cats in the opening game of the season didn't seem to shock the club that much, as by round 9 they'd own a 7-2 record and be sitting at 3rd place on the ladder. In this time period, we'd witnessed some of the best footy that an individual has played in a short amount of time, of Nathan Brown, setting the competition alight. In those first 9 games, he slotted home an outstanding 32 goals 19, placing 2nd on the Coleman leaderboard during the time, and picked up 7 Brownlow votes. He was truly kicking goals for fun, and was possibly the Tigers' biggest influence. The turning point of not only the Tigers, but also Nathan Brown's 2005 campaign occurred in their round 10 matchup against the Demons. This was the game that created one of the most sickening AFL injuries of all time, with Nathan Brown breaking his leg in unfortunate and horrifying fashion. A 57-point loss on the night kick-started their collapse, with Nathan Brown's injury seeming to shake the club. The Tigers couldn't get the ball rolling after that, and apart from their huge upset 1-point win against the eventual premiers of the Swans, Richmond only won 3 more games from round 10 onwards, and ended up finishing 12th with a 10-12 record after a disappointing second half of the season. The 1999 Geelong Cats. Coming off the back of their first season without finals footy since the 8-team finals series structure, the Cats were looking to bounce back in 1999 and return to the top 8. It would be no easy task, however, with their club champions of Gary Ablett, Billy Brownless and Paul Couch retiring from the club at the end of the 1997 season, hence their 12th place finish in 1998. A side mixed with young and old, with the likes of Gary Hocking, Peter Riccardi and a very young Matthew Scarlett, Geelong started like a house on fire, winning their first 5 games and even knocking off the 2 grand finalists of Carlton and North Melbourne in the process. Comfortably sitting in 2nd place after round 5, things took a turn for the worst right after. The Cats went on a huge freefall, losing a whopping 9 games in a row, followed by a close win at home against the dead last Pies, then another 2 consecutive losses. As a result, saw them slump to 12th place with 2 games outside the top 8. Winning 4 of their last 5 games in convincing fashion seemed like a promising feat for the next season, but it wasn't enough to dig themselves out of the huge hole they created, as they ended the season at 11th with a 10-12 record. A season truly to forget, especially after such a promising start at 5-0. The 2010 Brisbane Lions. After an impressive 2009 season with a finals win under their belts, the Lions were seeking to return to the top of the football mountain in 2010, still possessing absolute stars in their side, with Simon Black, rising star winner Daniel Rich, Luke Power, Jonathan Brown and a newly acquired Brendan Favola to bolster their potent forward line. A team that was predicted to make finals again, their projections started very well, jumping out to a convincing 4-0 start. A team with high potential and a dangerous forward line. Their spearheads were in fine form, with Favola having 13 goals and Brown having 19 goals after round 4. It seemed that the Lions were on track to make back-to-back finals appearances. However, they couldn't get things clicking after their round 4 win. Injuries to Brown and Favola was a heavy factor in why Brisbane pumped out a dismal 3-15 record from that point onwards, which would see him finish at 13th in the bottom 4. It was later revealed that Brown and Favola were playing most of the season with injured quads, most likely a key reason for their season collapse. Let's not forget the lingering unknown of the new Gold Coast side entering the competition that next year. It might have created an uneasy distraction on the playing list, with rumours spreading and the likes of 𝗦𝗏𝐿 and Jared Brennan being shipped off to the Suns the next year. 2016 North Melbourne. One of the few teams in today's video that might have actually made finals, but because of the severity in their collapse, they are a must inclusion in this video today. After back-to-back prelim final appearances, most people however were not bought over their overachieving finals performances. Alongside them containing the oldest list out of any team in the comp, many had North as a mid-table side with a good chance for finals heading into 2016. But with all the thoughts aside, the Kangaroos soared past the pack in the first half of the year, jumping out to a 9-0 start. But many fans and pundits at the time were not so quick to be in complete awe of their record. Only 2 of the first 9 opponents North played were in the top 8 at the time, with many stating that they had an easy draw to start the year off, and to just wait and see how they would go against more top 8 teams. It turned out the words could not be more true. The Roos struggled to match up against the top 8 sides, as after round 9 they'd only win 3 more games, which would just manage to sneak them into finals, finishing an 8th with a 10-12 record. Their finals campaign was short-lived, losing to the Crows in the Elam final by over 10 goals, to cap off a very up and down season. How a team could start off with an insane record of 9-0 to then almost miss finals has to be one of the biggest single season collapses we have seen. The 2012 Essendon Bombers. Quite easily one of the most infamous squads in AFL history, the 2012 Dons would be the season where the playing squad would partake in doping, which was later revealed the next year. The program primarily compromised with injections of supplements to improve soft tissue recovery times to enable players to endure and benefit from a heavier training workload. No doubt, it certainly reflected their performance in the first half of the 2012 season, jumping out to an impressive 8-1 record and sitting in second place. Now, this was around the time that the players stopped receiving the injections, and since the program seemed to correlate with their on-field performances, a lot of the players went down to soft tissue injuries, slowly derailing their season. They'd fall to 6 after round 17, before they would collapse and lose their last 7 games, finishing in 11th place with an 11-11 record, as they were yet to learn their fate that very next season. The 2018 Port Adelaide Power. A lot of things are pointing in a positive light heading into 2018 for Port Adelaide. A heartbreaking Elam final loss in 2017 usually translates into a more hungry and determined season the next year. A team expected to make finals again, the Power found a nice patch of form in the middle parts of the season, winning 5 in a row and pushing up into the top 4. They maintained their position in the top 4 after round 19, seemingly just needing 2 more wins from the last 4 games to lock in a final spot. However, the last 4 games were tough. A showdown game followed by 2 top 4 games against the Eagles and the Pies, and then a tricky game against the Dons at home was who they had to face. And unfortunately, the pair collapsed at the worst time. Adelaide got their revenge back with a showdown win with a Josh Jenkins winner, then followed a loss that Port fans refused to watch. Leading the whole game against the Eagles, Jeremy McGovern floated forward and slotted home the winner after the siren. A huge defeat away to the Pies hurt the percentage and bumped them out of the 8. Now needing to win against the Bombers at home and for Geelong to lose or draw against the Suns in Geelong, Port weren't even able to complete what was in front of them, going down to the Dons at home in poor fashion and finishing off the year in terrible style. The Power ended up finishing 10th in the end, with being a genuine top 4 chance only a month ago. How things can change and collapse so quick. The 2022 Carlton Blues. I'm sorry Carlton fans, but the unbelievable collapse and fashion on how the Blues finished off last season has to be in this video today. The 2022 Blues were one of the very few teams in AFL history to have been in the top 8 every single week, and to then drop out the very last week and not make finals at all. The way the list was built, the belief from the new coach of Michael Voss, and their promising start to the season, all things were pointing in the right direction of finally breaking their finals drought. They were dominant in the midfield, high in contested numbers, and the spine were working wonders. Jacob Weitering and Lewis Young were playing good footy, Cripps was at his peak, and the combination of Curnow and Mackay was their main source of goals. But it seemed that the 2 main factors that were dragging them down were injuries and experience. Many holes in their defence with 𝘬𝐻𝐪 and a lot of their depth options out. Arguably one of their most important plays structure-wise of 𝐓𝐡𝐞 𝐎𝐥𝐝 was out with an ongoing back injury, 𝐻𝐶𝐷 and 𝗏𝐼 missing a few games on top of that too. The lack of a fully fit squad was a key reason on why they couldn't get it done at the end of the day. And so was experience. The Blues struggled to beat teams that were above them, which was on display the last 4 rounds of their season. Needing just one win from their remaining 4 games to finally lock in a final spot, Carlton played a dismal performance in their shock loss to Adelaide. A thumping defeat to the Lions in Queensland, followed by a heartbreaker to the Demons in a more gallant defeat. It all meant nothing, as the Baggers still needed that one win, and it would have to come against the Pies. And in one of the best games of 2022, the Blues went down by a solitary point, in one of the most unbelievable collapses and ways that an AFL club has missed finals. So everyone, there were some of the biggest AFL single season collapses in AFL history. Thank you very much for tuning in today's videos. Hopefully you fellas are enjoying these sort of compilation or video essay types of the videos during the off season. I'm enjoying them, so make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are enjoying them too. Now of course there were plenty more teams I could have gone over in today's video, so feel free to comment down below. Love to hear your fellas' thoughts down below. Once again everyone, thank you very much for tuning into today's video. Make sure again to leave a like and subscribe if you wanted to enjoy. And until next time, I will talk to you later. See you later fellas.